How you can look completely secure while everything underneath is quietly falling apart. And it's exactly where we find and meet King Belshazzar in Daniel 5. The enemy is outside the walls. The king is inside, as we're going to discover in this story, and he's throwing a party he feels safest on the very night that he's in the greatest danger. And now we've got King Belshazzar, and from this moment forward, he's going to be known as King Belly. Sykesy spoke about this concept last week when we looked at chapter 4 and King Neb's pride, this idea or this insane idea that pride is when we put ourselves above God. How many people know that pride doesn't expect failure? Pride doesn't expect failure. Babylon, they were a superpower, one of the greatest dominant powers that our world has ever seen. And on this night, though, as Belly partied inside the walls of his kingdom, the Medes and the Persians, we know this from history, they'd surrounded them. And Belly knew this, it's just that he didn't think he would lose. And that's pride. It's when we get comfortable that we get sneak attacked by the enemy. We're all guilty of saying things like, life's good, work's busy, kids are growing, paid off my mortgage, finally got that holiday booked, 3 weeks in September, you won't find me here. We renovated the house, and none of those things are bad, but somewhere along the way, it's been 6 weeks since we opened up our Bible. Prayer begins to happen just when we're having a really bad day in our car. Worship becomes subject that I sing more than subject that I bring. Just like the king, we can be caught celebrating our own security while the enemy has already crept in and taken up home. The writing on the wall, it wasn't just judgment for King Belly, it was mercy. This was God interrupting him, stopping the party, confronting him to give him a final opportunity. King Belly, you could say, was loved so much by God that God actually interrupted him to tell him, hey, this isn't good. And we don't see it in the text so much, but what we know is that God has 100% record of restoring people who surrender and humble themselves before him. King Belly had the writing on the wall. As we say, right, and you're welcome, this is where it came from, but he couldn't see it because pride can't see pride. Belly tried saving himself. Isn't it interesting that the only one that could save King Belly was the very God whose hand wrote on the wall, was the one whose goblets Belshazzar and his friends were holding as they worshipped other gods and mocked this God, the one that he thought was powerless, the one that he thought was forgotten, the one that he thought was worthless, was the very one who could deliver him. And we keep placing salvation on the other side of one more achievement, but maybe the greatest tragedy today isn't that we would reject Jesus, maybe sometimes it's that we would replace him with stuff in our life, because I got news for you. None of these things can carry the weight of being your savior. Only Jesus can. This is the truth. Every other savior than Jesus eventually asks you to save yourself. And the good news, the most authentic part, I think sometimes of the gospel, the good news about Jesus and the story of our Bible is that Jesus knows we can't save ourselves. That's why he came in love to suffer for our own saving, lowly, like a servant. Belly wasn't destroyed because Babylon was weak. Belly was destroyed because Babylon looked strong and he trusted his own story more than God's story, even when God wrote his story on the wall with a hand floating right in front of him. Here's the sobering truth. Comfort isn't the absence of danger. Sometimes it's the reason we don't notice it.